All right, guys and girls, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Busy day today, but again, good day. Many of you were able to get on the webinar for Nadex this morning and get your free classes out of that one. I saw a bunch of you guys signed up. A bunch of new people as well. Like, I don't know, I don't actually have it in front of me right now. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see here. How many? Ten of the 5-minute buy. No, bad. I forget. Good. Thank you very much, Corey. Appreciate it. Ooh, for those of you that did get the new class, the high volatility class, like I said, I'm in the middle of recording that right now. The goal is to have that online by Friday, but we'll see. I'll do my best to get that one out. Like I said, I don't have the boys are not here, so the recording is a little bit easier. I just got to get a little bit extra time, and I'll probably do probably 2 of the modules tomorrow night. There's like 8 modules for it. It's a bunch of modules, but it should be good. I just got to put the last little like 95% on the deck, but should be cool. I'm very happy with the way that it turned out. Like I said, that is my COVID giveaway for people out there, so should be good. Anyway, as far as looking on the day today, so didn't expect it to be a very big day today. Obviously, going into it, we had the G7 meetings. Really, kind of everything is where it should be. The only thing that's a little bit shy right now is probably the pound yen, euro dollar at 60. I mean, that's well within what its range should be. It's actually it's kind of what it used to be, right? 60 to 80. So a little bit on the low side, and some of that is from the last 15 minutes is down. The pound 86, exactly where it should be. I mean, that one is like hitting that ATR dead on. That's what it used to be, although in the last hour, that one obviously is coming back down again. So that was a little bit higher. The dollar yen minus 42, not a bad space, right? That's a little bit low, but totally fine with that. Again, it's bringing it back down and sucking the ATRs smaller. The dollar Swiss down 55. That's not a bad run today, right? Being down 55 from where we were last night. And again, that's kind of a continuation to where we saw it yesterday. So not horrible. What else we got? We have Aussie dollar or CAD dollar CAD up 10. Again, that one will move tomorrow with oil. Aussie dollar up 24. And again, a lot of that in the last 60 minutes is kind of pulling that one back down again. But again, not a lot of movement. Euro pound still a little bit more pound strength. So again, another day of pound strength really across the board on all 3 pairs. Not as much today, but again, in the last 60 minutes, that one is starting to kind of pull back again. So, or actually, I guess pull up from where it was a little bit lower. So that was a little bit more in 24 hours. But again, still to the downside. And then pound yen up just slightly. Nothing super crazy there. So as far as big news today, Chinese commodity imports, still yet to, detail virus damage. Again, that's going to be affecting the Aussie as well as in New Zealand because that's where they get a lot of that information. Consumer confidence collapses with coronavirus. Sure, in Australia. Not surprising. This one. Trump. He's just doing this to piss people off now. Yeah. And again, this one, I'm sure you guys saw this one earlier today too. May 1st target is too optimistic. It's like, but you tell the guy we can't do things and then we end up doing it. So who knows? I don't know. Like I said, they would probably want everybody to stay at home until the last of, it's like polio to where it's like completely. We'll see. I know actually now all recovered from it. And yeah, they said it sucked. It was a bad flu and now they're over it and past it. So it's interesting, like as people are getting past it and getting healed, they're like, well, wait a second, do I need to be secluded because I have the antibodies, I can't get it, I'm good. So can I go outside and do stuff? And I was like, honestly, I have no idea. Like if you have it, you went through it and you're clear now, I don't know. I mean, one of them is on day 8 or 9 of their 14-day after quarantine. They're like dying to get out. They're like, man, I can't wait out. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna get ice cream. I'm gonna do this. I'm like, everything's closed, right? Yeah. Looking at the hottest stories or whatever, Goldman obviously says a downturn will be 4 times worse than the housing crisis. 4 times worse is I don't know. I don't know what justifies the 4 times worse. Sure, we can see unemployment rate extremely high, but then at the same time, as soon as it's over in the 2 to 3 month period of time, then everything cranks back up to levels we've never seen before with job, creation. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe at its worst, but it's going to be such an accelerated pace to the downside. And then again, when everything reinflates, people are going to start working, people are going to start buying things, people are going to get out, and it's going to go crazy. And again, most importantly, remember, this is the hottest news here. Look at number 3. Sex toy sales take off amid Colombia's coronavirus quarantine. So it's like, what? A banner says sold out. So again, that is on the top list of the hottest, news, worldwide. In the top 5 things, it's right there, right? So yeah, yeah, make it or break it. The Australian dollar, yeah, exactly. We've seen that before. And then a summary of the G7 finance ministers central bank meeting. Yeah, oh, that makes sense. Excuse me. Ugh. Man, I start talking. It's like, man, I gotta get that extra oxygen. All that stuff makes sense, except the sex toy sales take off amid Colombia's quarantine. So I get it. Social distancing. By the inflatable man. All right. So, with that being said, going into tomorrow. So, tomorrow is actually set up to be the best day of the week as far as news. The one female chimes in. She's like, "Yep, makes sense to me." See how that works? Oh, Ernest is hoarding them now? Get bad. All right, but anyway, guys, tomorrow is actually the top day of the week, and I'll click on the low up. You can see it starts off early. None of this really matters until we hit 8:30 when we hit the core retail sales numbers. Empire State Manufacturing probably won't be a big deal. Capacity utilization rate, we'll see. Really, probably not much. Industrial production kind of matters. It shouldn't be a yellow right now because it does kind of, signify what we have coming. It's supposed to be forecasted at minus 4.1. I'm interested to see what that is for kind of other news releases. Then at 10 o'clock, we jump into the BOC information. 10:30 CAD. The press conference should be interesting. Like I said, they've kind of been more quiet than anything else. So I think we may get some surprises of that one. I'm curious to see if the press conference or the crude oil inventory is going to move the CAD more and see what the miss is. Now, the forecast right now is 12, surplus of 12. What's interesting about that? I don't know. So obviously with OPEC and everything, they agreed to a cut. It wasn't as high as some people thought. It was higher than what some of other caught. But back to the kind of the root of everything. I mean, cutting supply, cutting production rates is fine. But if the demand is not there, it doesn't matter how much you cut because we're sitting on so much supply. So the fact that it's still up at 12.1 mil is a huge number. Yeah, release it in top 8. Nice. So I think that's going to be an interesting number to watch. You guys saw oil. Oil not doing much, right? And looking at that thing, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, I mean, a little bit of a bounce, right? A little bit of a bounce, but for the most part, it's still just getting lower and lower and lower and lower. So, yeah. How about that oil? Like I said, I will be very excited if we can get 99-cent gas in Maryland. We're like the mid one. I think my wife said it was like 150 today. It went up slightly here in that last little pop. Um, I think now the new thing is like let's just tax oil. Let's tax gas twice as much because nobody's going to go outside. To force people from buying gas. That's about the best way to keep people at home is jack gas to like $4 a gallon, and they just take it off for like relief. You know. Um, so we'll see. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting one tomorrow. Long-term purchases pretty much clear until 9:30 tomorrow night with the employment change and the unemployment rate. Um, Unemployment rate only going up to 5.4. Kind of interesting. We haven't really seen that one explode, and Australia is kind of already taken on a fair amount of its, its coronavirus kind of exposure. So I don't know. I mean, they were starting to get affected by it early on. So I'm curious to see what that, if that number is going to be, it's moved a little bit. I mean, clicking on the history here, you guys can see that it has gone up slightly, but not much, right? And last month it actually was forecast to be 5.3 and it came in as 5.1. So, it actually went down, right, during that time, when China was not purchasing anything. So, yeah. we'll see. Tomorrow's gonna have a lot of interesting news for it. Again, a majority of that is all CAD in the middle. I mean, they're already at 0.25. I don't think they're. I think they'll keep it at that level. Again, things to look for there is any type of easing policies or stimulate that economy. That could potentially bring obviously weakness into the CAD. I didn't think there was anywhere that it was still over $2. I know Q said in New York it's like 265, but again, New York City everything is twice as expensive. Yeah, 225 is crazy. We've got down to a low of like one. I think it was like 99 cents with Sean out in Michigan. Okay, in Washington. Wow, really? Well, I know gas is always more expensive over there, but man, I'm surprised that it's still 225 up there. Washington, I figured it'd be 99 would be nice. Yeah, I know 99 is amazing. Will's over here. His buddy's buying like 2,000 gallons of it. I'm like, man, I have a pond in the backyard with no fish in it right now. I'm like, fill it with a gas. Yeah, you guys can't catch it. Q, think of it like this, right? You saw the Avengers movie, right? What was the government ready to do? Like if they want to, cure people and cut the numbers down and cut the infections, all they got to do is either open that portal or let that nuke go off up there, buddy, and that's it. Bam, virus cured. I'm waiting for 89 cents now. Sean, if it hits 89 cents, man, that's crazy. 89 would be nuts. All right, so let's look at the scanner. Oops, forgot to hit that last one. All right, so scanner, again, a lot of things are on the scanner right now. A lot of things are popping up. Why? Because, again, with these days of consolidation, new levels are starting to form and it's starting to kind of move things around. Now, we haven't eaten up a lot of the big zones on the top and the bottom of that curve yet. That's going to take a little bit longer to do, and we're not quite there yet. But look at this scanner. This is like pure joy. All these, I've been saying it for 2 weeks. I love these ATRs getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Things are moving back to normal. You saw, like, at least with a lot of the 5-minute binaries, they're back down to where the levels they should be. They're not jacked up through the roof like they were before. Some of them are still a little bit off, but for the most part, again, good stuff. A lot of those things are back in. I was telling my wife, she's like, you haven't been trading as much at night. I'm like, nope, I haven't. And I told her why, and she's like, "Oh, it makes sense not to do it that way." But now that the binaries are back down again, I can start, doing my 5-minute binaries at night. That was a fun challenge. I don't know if anybody else did the challenge. Like I said, I'm not one to, I'm never one to sit there and be like, "Oh, look how much I made in trading." Right? It's just not who I am. But I will say that challenge where it was $50 a day with Nadex 5-minute binaries was awesome. It was fun to do in the month of January. And if anybody hasn't done it, I would highly encourage you, study for the next 2 weeks, prepare for it, and going into next month, try to make $50 a day doing 5-minute binaries. And again, you'll probably want to do more than 50, but set yourself an easy target. $50 a day, 250 a week, right? That's $1,000 next month just in 5-minute binaries. And then again, if you want to start up just a 5-minute binary account, go from there, But kind of a cool challenge. It was definitely fun. I definitely recommend it. All right. So let's dive into the scanner. So as you can see, most of the majors, again, most of them are in some, I mean, they're all technically in some type of a setup format, right? Euro dollar, again, we had movement today, but it's been flat, confirmed uptrend, uptrend setup. So we'll check that guy out. Aussie dollar, pound dollar, New Zealand dollar, all in uptrend setup, showing a bit of a, little bit of dollar kicking around there. Dollar CAD downtrend setup, dollar Swiss downtrend setup, but again, that one is falling into demand right now. And then dollar yen sideways down confirmed. Okay, and again, that one has been kind of in it. Again, mostly red, right? Mostly red, except versus the dollar and versus the CAD. CAD is obviously a little bit weak. The dollar is more or less weak. But Euro Aussie, I mean, again, we have strength in the Aussie, the New Zealand, the pound, and the Swiss. And then the yen, it's down, but it's kind of that sideways confirmed consolidating again. The Euro yen is one of those. I just don't like it as much, right? But again, seeing that Aussie strength, seeing New Zealand strength, seeing pound strength, those are things we've been talking about for about the last week, 2 weeks. So, pretty nice. CAD basket is a little bit all over the place. Okay. you'll see it's kind of split between, basically green and red, but for the most part, it's just showing CAD weakness across the board. Not surprising. Again, smaller economy, they're going to be affected by a lot of things with oil prices going down. That obviously puts a big kind of crunch, a big weight on the shoulders of the Canadian market. So again, Euro CAD to the top side is again Euro strength, CAD weakness, anchor break, even on the hour, on the 4 hour and the 1 hour down here. You guys are able to see that not looking good, right? Looking at the Aussie CAD, okay, this is where we move into that second position, still up, still up. Dollar CAD, downtrend setup, meaning this one is pulling up just a little bit, but not too much. Again, that one is mixed. But then here you go. You got this one anchor break to the downside, confirm down, and then sideways down as well with the CAD or the New Zealand CAD. So definitely getting pushed. And again, the fact that it is stronger than New Zealand kind of lets you know that, hey, listen, New Zealand is maybe having some trouble. And there was news on New Zealand last night. Okay. Well, looking at the Aussie basket. Aussie basket is nothing. Oh, there we go. They had to ruin it. They had to ruin it. It was all blue, all to the top side. And finally, the Aussie yen has given us a little bit of an anchor break to the downside, meaning it's a pullback. Obviously, Aussie CAD, Aussie dollar, Aussie Swiss. Uptrend setup means that price is now pulling back. We'll see what it bounced off of. I know a couple of these were starting to bounce off supply zone, so we'll take a look at that. And last but not least, the baby that I've been saying that is going to be going up for 2 weeks now. Solid green, all up, right? One anchor break, one confirmed, a few different setups in here. Doesn't matter the pair, whether it be the Canadian, New Zealand, Aussie, Swiss, dollar, or yen. Everything going up, right? Pound strength. And again, it's because the pound was in such a bad situation because of Brexit. So this is all good. Actually, it's funny. I didn't hear anything on here. How is Boris doing? Has anybody heard anything about Boris? Anything about Boris? Government will have more to say shortly about about help for the oil and gas industry. So yeah, Canada is shutting down here. I didn't see anything about Boris. I don't know. Last I heard, Boris was in he was in the bad side of the. But haven't heard anything else since that time. So hopefully Boris is doing okay. John is in the house. News anchor. What? Um. Yeah. Well, they take place. Q. That's not true. Not all of them take place in New York. Some of them take place in L.A. also. L.A. But okay, so that scanner. Let's go over the charts, guys. Let's switch off this. Let's go back into. All right, dollar. All right, so a little bit of a pullback. Okay, not necessarily surprising. Had such a run, right? This big impulse correction, and then, all right, let's see what it ran into. I'm on the 4. You can see that we all we ran into was kind of these little candles again. Again, we had big, 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 and this is like that little area. There is a zone just a little bit higher from where it is, so I think it's just doing a minor pullback. It looks like it wants to continue higher. Again, given that impulse correction moves all the way up. There is a small zone here, but it's one of those situations where, yeah, if it pulls back, I mean, there's actually already been a pullback. You guys can see it right here. Into that zone was a pretty quick pullback. But one of the things that in this one that I'd be worried about, you guys can see it's what I'd be concerned about is again going long in kind of range of this curve. That's kind of a problem for me. Not that it can't go past and can't continue to go higher and things like that, but just remember the higher on the curve it gets, the kind of more think of it like gravity. The more gravity it's pulling, like there's things pulling on it, the higher up it goes, and that's kind of what we're running into. So I'm a bit more cautious, especially with a zone sitting right here, right above where price currently is. So from where it was, it could only go up about 25 more pips on a daily. Daily ATR is 110, so kind of a larger number. Um, yeah. So, interesting level. And like I said, on the 30-minute and the 1 hour, you can see that this thing has already started to turn and flip back to the down. You actually have a confirmation of about a 10 pip. That red, green, red. Now, we did have a red, green, red prior here. But again, that was kind of a sharp push up and then kind of a pull back down, and that kind of flipped. This one, kind of the same thing. I mean, it's moving. Like I said, I don't think it's running into much. Oh, there you go. That's what it ran into. There's a zone sitting right there, right before this other. Already bouncing off of a level, so that makes sense. From that level, and again, had you taken originally, you're already talking about 29 pips up on that one, so not bad. Again, the 1 to 3, 1 to 5, both of them are in pretty good position. Based off of the confirmation or the bid, you're there's your 1 to 3 on that one. If you're taking a confirmation entry, if you took it off the full zone, off the 30-minute zone, that's quite large. Let me see here. That's like a 25 pip range. Because that zone was originally formed. That zone. So it's kind of one of those things that I was talking about before. We haven't worked out all those big crazy candles yet. Basically everything created in here is going to be a lot bigger than what it normally would. That's kind of the problem that we're hanging with. Now the ATR is moving back, so all the levels in here will be better. Anything associated with this is going to be a little bit nothing we can do. All right, so let's go down into we'll do. So Aussie CAD coming up to a level. You guys can see here on the daily, it's already actually banking off of that level, though it's quite large. Looking at the 4 hour, you can see very, very close, right? Very, very close. There's a zone sitting right up here, just a little bit higher. This one has really pulled away last 16 hours. It based a bit and then did pop. This zone is not horrible. It was a tested zone, briefly touched right here. You can see on that one. Let's see. We'll dive. It's even on the 30 on the hourly. You can see it. We lose it when we go to the 30-minute. But that zone is sitting up there. I'll just do this. You're looking at entry on that one at about 89.70, basically 89.78 to 9, right? So 23 pips, not too bad. Aussie CAD. It has kind of pushed away from that zone though. So again, it is pushing back, but in the normal practice, the normal cycle, the impulse and corrections, it's kind of doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we'll see. And that one is 89.77 as far as what. Okay. Let's look at Aussie New Zealand now. Aussie New Zealand, again, this thing you guys can see it. It's just been pushed up, 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 up. It cleared that last area, had a little bit of a pullback, cleared higher, and now we're kind of in this stuff, right? This small body candles, wicks top and bottom. Really, kind of this is the area here that I'm looking for it to get to. That's kind of where I'm looking for like solid turnaround moves. Right now, we're not even, we got some room to run. We got about 80 pips before we get there. The AR on the daily is only 86. So it's telling me we have a full run. What I'm hoping to see on this one is I'm hoping that it will be up here tomorrow night. Okay. Why do I want it there tomorrow night? Because we have the Aussie news tomorrow. So if we can get one more nice candle to the top side, 80 pips up, or at least remarkably close to that one, that would be a good place to be going into the news number for tomorrow. All right. Right now, that's probably the best we got on that one. Looking at the lower time frames, kind of the same idea. I mean, it's been a healthy push up. This zone down here is not horrible, but again, it moved quite a distance away from that zone. Higher. So not bad. And again, on the 30-minute, you can see there hasn't really been any ways to get into this one. No type of re-entries. And that again, that's what made this one a little bit. Aussie, New Zealand, So you guys can see, again, we had this one set here, or as kind of an alert if it came up and tagged. As you guys can see, it did. It actually came to the very, very top of this. Again, dropping it to these lower time frames, you can see we had the one trend here, right? We came back up. This one, it hit here, and then finally went through. So you had your 2 hits, 3 hits, and number 4 went through. Okay. After that, what did it do? It came back up, touched the zone, and then boom, collapsed back down again. This was actually one of the ones that this is the one right here. This retest right here was at that like 10:30 reversal time. It popped, came back, and kind of retested. So there was a small zone here. There's a couple of these that were pretty nice, right? Very, very small, kind of at 9 morning. Prices came back, snapped into that range, and now continued. Now this one did get stopped. It didn't get another entry back in, so if you missed it here, you would not have been able to get it. It's hitting that zone again. It's a nice zone. I mean, if it goes back up there, then yeah, there's definitely a zone sitting there. It is done on a higher time frame. We have had a nice push away, but we are going to kind of pop into this zone. The fact that this one was pierced this deeply, like that far into that zone, you guys can see it went about, what, 80% through. I would be hesitant about taking that one for another long. I think it's probably good for one, but any more than that right now, I think it may be a bit by the way that it pierced. And then really the next zone is going to be down here. And this one, it's drawn off of this. I don't know if you guys can see it. You guys see that the candle? You can see the body of it, right? You guys can see the green body there. See how it's yellow right now in there? That's what it's drawing off of. I actually like this zone. If anything, what I would do is I'd wait till price level before I was willing to go long again. That's a nice little pop here. I mean, it went up, down, sideways for 3, and then boom, skyrocketed up. So that zone is right about here. Like I said, these are approximate numbers. Check on your plan. Again, it coincides with these 3 candles. But around 67.83 is where that area would be. And again, that's where the first time I'd really be looking for any type, at least in the overnight. All right. Top for me, again, top is sitting at background. It should be solid. Anyway, you guys can see there are the 2 prices on Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss has an ATR down to 93. We're almost completely back to normal. Now this one is in a situation kind of looks similar to what we have in the Nasdaq, and we're getting close to that gap area. Okay, on the 4-hour, you can see this is what we're looking at. Again, we didn't mark this one off, but you can see more or less this is kind of the area where the gaps are at. So that's where we're at as far as do we need to go short. Okay, we have a couple of the pairs that need to go slightly higher, but it looks like this one is kind of trying to front run the other 2 back to the downside. I don't see anything that really brings in Swiss strength, but we do see Aussie weakness. And again, with some of the numbers, and again, with there being news tomorrow night, this could definitely be headed to the downside. Now, not a bad zone here. And again, this is on the 4-hour, and you're talking about 45 pips. Again, it's on a 4-hour chart, so, again, dropping it down to the lower levels. So, quite make it if you're using. Now, I will say I am looking. I would say that this is not a bad down draw. I'm looking to take over something in here. This price spent a lot of time kind of going back and forth in here, and even when it kind of left and based and then finally popped. It was not the strongest of exits, which typically signifies that there is not a ton of buyers, because had there been a ton of buyers in here, price would have probably rocketed out of here much, much faster than it didn't. So for me, I'm thinking, again, I'm more thinking, hey, listen, probably bearish on this one. If we can get a break of that zone, I think this one got front run on the higher level target, or it was using the 4-hour. It was using the 4-hour gap as far as its end. I mean, even here, if you drew it right, it has given us a bit of an entry. It is consolidated, not beautiful. All right, going down to CAD. Things that you need to be careful about. Side target, there's a lot of target to the downside is going to be a bit rougher. So if we would use the same zone and use that as kind of a pullback area, just think, kind of like a Harry Potter-ish trade, something along the lines of that is what we'd be looking for. Your risk level, here, let's put bottom level here is around, and the top of that is around 69.11 is kind of those two pieces are. Okay. Profit target 1 on that one is around 68.12. Profit target 2 is 67.62. All right. So not a bad little, not a bad thing. It's only about 25 pips risk. Make sure you get your white space below, right? Make sure it goes past, clears the area, comes back and retouches, and then looks for the down draw. So CAD Swiss, maybe a trade tomorrow morning. We will see. CAD Yen. So CAD Yen, you guys will see, it was making a valid attempt, didn't make it, and is now continuing to push to the downside. So on the 4-hour, you guys can see it was flirting along that area, flirting along that area, flirting along that area, and it's just sort of the push a little bit more. This one I still can see, consider the being, I still think it's going to shoot back down and kind of come down into this level. Right, I do think it will come back down to that level, the 74.47 range, but it's doing it kind of at its own pace. I would expect a bit more oomph tomorrow on that one. And again, I'm not looking at this zone to go long. I'm just basically looking for opportunities in this one. There's a little tiny bit right here, but for the most part, I think this is dropping right to where the gap was. You're talking about an 85 pip drop down there. So for me, I would put a target right there. Now, again, remember, this is a target, not a takeoff point. Okay. This is a target from the down draw because we want to stay with the trend. You guys can see right here. Look at this. You guys see this? Downtrend set up 1-hour, 4-hour, looking for orders, and it pulled a big zone. There was the zone it was pulling from. Right there. Downtrend set up into that level, boom, took it and dropped, and it's 1-to-1 already. You guys can see on the 30-minute. Look how close. Look how close. Downtrend set up 1-hour, 4-hour. Just got front run. Boom, all the way down. I bet you hit target too. Yep. So again, CAD Yen. Some trades going on. All right, so there's CAD. Let's go over to the Swiss. All right, so look at this one. Literally back and forth between these two levels. So again, consolidation in the Swiss yen, you can see on the 4-hour, basically one candle up, one candle down, one candle up, one candle down, one candle up, literally for the last 16, 24 hours. And here's what it looks like on lower time frames. Literally just bouncing back and forth between those two. As you can see, let's see, we'll put this on. Here's the current chart school candle. And where we were last night is right here. Okay. So price came up, stayed in, went up, came up again, went all the way down, touched, came back up again, and went back and forth. So it's definitely been back and forth in this range, and this box is actually So I had that box all messed up. The snapping drives me crazy sometimes. The 1 to 5 was never in play for this one. There's your 1 to 3. Again, it's hit one here, down, one here. So multiple kind of touches off that one. Again, that's the drop, a sideways, and a base. Looking at that one, again, why would we take that? Higher on the curve, right? Higher on the curve. Now here we're kind of in the middle to low range, but again, looking at this on a daily, you can see we're definitely flirting around this top 33%. It's starting to get close to the middle, but again, looking at more of the current trend of things, what is it doing? It's having issues. It wants to complete this, come all the way back into this range. So that's all we got. I know a lot of you guys don't trade Swiss yen, but definitely been some small minor setups on this one. All right, so looking at euro. All right, so let's start off with euro Aussie. So my phone is, I think, 3 years old now, 4 years old, and I have insurance on it, but it's getting to the stage where it's like starting to do like weird things. My wife sent me a message and like, not get my message. I'm like, no, I didn't. So Euro Aussie still continue to push back to the downside as I warned before. You guys can see again, we got this area here where we're starting to see a little bit of buyer stepping in, right? Again, it was an irrational burst forward. A lot of this was Aussie weakness as it pushed all the way up. Again, extreme Aussie weakness again because of demand of China. That has already started to subside, come back almost back to where we were. The ATR is still at 265, so it's still pretty high. You can see that we're still, again, the peak of this one was at 614. So the fact that it's 265, we've knocked about 400 of this off in the last 7 days, 8 days. So again, almost back to normal ranges, but some of these zones are pretty big. Like this zone right here, talking about a 250, which is insane. It's huge, 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 huge. We are right along the top of it again. There is the gap here, so if I shrink this down, cover just the gap area. You can see that's what we're running into right now. So it's having some hiccups. Again, it's retraced back to more or less where it was. But unfortunately, with the ATR still being what it is, again, the ATR is still, 265 pips in one day. So we need to fully return. It's right here. It's about 60% of the way back, but still got a little bit room to go. And again, tomorrow night, this one will probably be a big mover. So be cautious if you're trading it. Looking at euro dollar. So euro dollar, again, we've talked about this top and bottom kind of retracing back and forth. Again, I still love the longs down here, but we're still just going sideways, right? On the 4 hour, you can see kind of this is what we're looking at, right? Off. Not much, right? Really no trend. I mean, on a 4 hour basis, what did it do today? Nothing. Nothing, right? You guys can see, look at it here on the hourly. Now it is up 63, but only because of the time of it. You can see basically we had 44 down and then 20 back up and then 40 down and then 20 from where we are now. So I mean it's range bound. And remember, that would have been your top side, not the other one that it marked. The other one is, yeah, in the same zone, but you would have gotten entry off this zone, and that's it painted it. Target, not an entry. Just entries are down here. Okay, so on this one, I would say that I'm still bearish again, and the reason why is because if you're looking at the small zone here, okay, again, price came in, tested 1, 2, 3. Next time it comes through, right? Most likely we're gonna have some type of a break. So um, this first one, and probably not the best, but I would be looking to take over probably, let's see if it matches up. Yeah, your 1 to 3 is in an okay location. 1 to 5, maybe pushing it a little bit far. 1 to 3, I think we're probably pretty good on it. Um, yeah, it's not bad. Like I said, that'd be a break, a retest, and then a collapse back to the downside for euro yen. So it looks like a break of approximately there. and it looks like first profit target is sitting down in that. Okay, and approximately in that area. Okay, so you guys can see that. All right, so let's go down and do Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand, 231 pip ATR, still a little bit crazy. It did bounce right off that gap level, but this has got some insane candles. I mean, this big green one here, this big red one here. It just shows because of the low volatility, this thing can get absolutely insane. You know, 4-year-old iPhone? Heck no. I've never owned. I can honestly say I've never owned an iPhone ever, ever. Never even tried it out. And every time I have my wife, she has one. And every time I pick hers up, I'm like, yep, just I will never make this switch. No, it's a Motorola, but it's like 3 years old, and my kids play with it all the time. I mean, it's gotten its worth out of it. They're like on like the Moto 4, and this is like a Moto 2. Yeah, it's gotten. I've got my money out of it, and then some, and probably a little bit more. So I'm due for an upgrade. Um, so taking a bounce here, but again, this one is still not trade over for me until this one gets fully back to normal. You guys can see there's a couple minor zones in here that things kind of broke through. We are approaching a zone here, which is actually pretty clean, but the zone, unfortunately, is just way too big. I mean, it's a 61 pip zone on an hourly. I mean, the ATR on this one is at least 35, so I mean, the zone is double what the ATR is in one time frame. Kind of a lot, right? Kind of a lot for a pair that has volatility issues. Excuse me, not volatility, liquidity issues. So I'd be cautious trading this one. Again, it is in somewhat of a setup position right now, but not necessarily my favorite to take it. Euro Swiss. Now, Euro Swiss daily is 38 pips. This sucker is basically dead. I think the ATR is going actually below now what the averages are on the daily, because you can see the dailies are, the average of the daily over here is up here, right? We're down here. So this one is literally the definition of completely flatlined. 38 pips are just not enough to trade it. So it's don't know what's going on with this guy, but yeah, they can't give this currency away, or this currency pair away. Um, I bet it's the rubber bands holding it together. No, it's in pretty good shape. I got a new one 2 years ago. Having issues with the charger, and the guy's like, "Oh, you have insurance." I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "It means I can give you a free one right now." I'm like, "Okay, hook me up, bro." So no, it's this one's not as durable as the first one I had. This is probably like a refurbished one or something. So I'm probably the third owner of this phone. Euro Swiss again, not enough trend for me to be able to get in. So Euro dollar. So this is one that we do like to trade. Now again, the zone that was formed was a bit crazy on the daily. Again, it's back in some of the drama, so we can't really use that one. On the 4 hour, you can see again, we need to have this kind of trigger line in here to say, hey. And there's a couple things above where we are. I mean, I think hourly is kind of where we're starting to hit those zones. Again, aggressive one, and a little bit more conservative on the top side. So there is two. Again, you want to be alerted when we get up to that range. That candle or that price is sitting around. Put it behind things. Huh. That's going to drive me nuts. Don't want it to be translucent. No. I don't know. I'm going to talk to Matt. Be like, Matt, why is it doing this? On every other platform, it doesn't do that. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. All right. But anyway, you guys can see that one over there. It's 110.27 is again where those alerts and where those two aggressive shorts are coming in. One aggressive, one a little bit more conservative. Again, the ATR on this one is shrinking back pretty quickly. That's what we have. It's sitting on the hour. Right now we're sitting about 44 pips away. So again, this could be like a London Open or early morning trade. If the European session, they tend to push this one up, and we are sitting somewhere up in these two zones. Again, look for the U.S. traders to come in and potentially turn this and kind of push this back to the downside. Give it a little. Okay. Now let's look at Euro pound. So euro pound for the day, this one is only 7 pips down. So again, just slight movement on this one. Okay. Looking at it on the 4 hour, you guys can see we have this box drawn of where we wanted it to go. We wanted it to come a little bit lower. We wanted it to pull this zone, and we wanted it to go back up. Unfortunately, it just didn't move enough. 7 pips in 24 hours. There's just nothing we can do with this one. Nothing. Nothing, unfortunately. One little pop, one retrace, and then for the day, flat line sitting on the same area. Again, the alert on this one, again, I'm not going to redo all the analysis, but on this one is sitting down here, 86. Right. Man, it's gonna seriously drive me nuts. Hold on. I gotta make sure that I'm not crazy. I'm gonna load up the other one real quick. I do have multiple clients here. I thought that it didn't when I drew. Hold on. You know why? I think. Wait. Hold on. Stop moving. You guys can't see what I'm doing. It's on the chart. Hold on. Now it's doing it on this one too. It- I don't know. Drive me crazy. All right. I'll shut that one. All right. So I don't know. Maybe I need more sleep. Less slide building, more sleep. Maybe. All right, so euro pound again. We need to either come lower or just starting to build a base off this one. So I don't think there's really much tradable, unfortunately. But good news is, again, the A2R, you guys can see this one is basically back. We're at 93. It's a little high for this pair, so it's back. We just need to work through some of these zones. Again, still looking for some type of a position to form, whether a pop or a break of this zone to the downside. So we only had a minor pause here in the middle. So, you know, let's see. Again, let's see if we can continue the trend down strength. Looking at pound CAD, speaking of that, I'm sorry, EuroCAD. EuroCAD, obviously, this thing is moving up. We had kind of a Harry Potter setup here. Never got entry in the Harry Potter. We just had this one little spike down. We never got any black space, and it just kind of stabilized and actually pushed away from the area. So, at this point, you could take it off. It didn't, we didn't end up getting the kind of minor push and then drive through. It has gone a little bit higher back on the curve. So it almost looks like, again, that it wants to get into a short position. It did spend a lot of time there. Okay, it did spend a lot of time this level, so it's not really the best. Ideally, you would like to have it hit one of these other three zones, and this one is small. It's all right. These two are better. Obviously, the top one is probably the best one in here, but we got so much room to run on that one. There's really just not a whole lot we can do on it. Okay, as you guys can see right now, again, we're sitting in kind of a downtrend confirmed situation. There's a little bit of a pullback right now, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. We already know what we're kind of running into. Okay, we're running into a level that was based off of this gap zone on the 4 hour. Okay, so you know this solid bar. Whoops, this solid bar right here is going to be an issue. Okay, we know that that's going to be an issue when it comes back down again. So we got to get a break of that. Like I said, I have an alert line in here at this. What is it? 49.21. Down here, 149.21. That's where my alert is for this pair to get this one long. This is a much better zone, okay? Especially for as much time as it. All right, let's look at pound. All right, so pound Swiss. Okay, pound Swiss is also approaching a level where we were starting to look for shorts, and that is at 122.00. Looking at it on the 4 hour, you can see it's kind of the upper range of this where price keeps poking back in. There is a basing level right here, and that's what we're kind of looking for on this 4 hour. Though you can see there's really not a whole lot of movement. Top to bottom, we're talking about 45 pips.
you can see that the ATR on this one on the daily is 128. So it's almost back to where it's supposed to be as well. Running it into, areas of supply on a couple different time frames. I think actually in the hourly. You guys can see it over there. Go back to, you guys can look on how it's formed. There's not too much that's high quality. This is the first time we run into a quality zone sitting right above it. Alert is obviously set a little bit below that, right down at 120. 122.09 is the start. Pound yen. Okay. Yeah, pound yen basically flatlined. We are up right now. Actually, we are down 6 pips in 24 hours. Okay. So, not the biggest mover right now. This one is kind of asleep, and I think the nation's just kind of on hold at this point. Looking on the 4-hour, look at the sideways movement. No trend. Not a whole lot to trade in this one. Okay. Here's a 30-minute. Oops. 30-minute right there. That's basically what we got. Now, the channel itself is about 70 pips, but, are you going to trade off the bottom side of it? I mean, you could start with it really here. Okay. You can see it came up, tagged it again, touched the top, rode the middle, bounce, 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 up, bounce. So, again, we've hit this thing so many times. I don't know that this level can hold really much longer. To me, any type of short in here, I think we're going to come back down. Now, this one missed it just slightly. It's nice when it does this, but it missed. Yeah, see there's a white space in there. It did not get filled. This zone is about 23, which again, pound yen, 23 pips, risk. Legit, right? But we missed it and it's moved about 50 from that time. So not much we can do about that one. But I do think it will come back down, and I think it's on the way down to here. Over there. Okay. Probably a little bit farther than that. Probably like, I'm not even sure. Leave that there and see how close I get. All right, so pound yen, no real tradable setups on that one. Pound dollar, you guys can see it just actually pushed through. Okay, so this one made it past the wick over wick. We had marked this one off, right? On the daily, we said, hey, listen, there's a wick over wick going on right there. Again, it pushed in, pushed out, pushed up a little bit, pushed back down again, and then bam, it just kind of jammed through it. You guys can see. We hit here. You could say that these hit and grinded, pushed up, and then pushed out again. Again, this one, you were asking for it, if you held this one all the way through. Pushed all the way to the top side. If you did refine it, you could technically refine it to. There's a couple areas that it could potentially turn this one around. As much as this one has gone up versus the dollar, I do think we are due for kind of an opposite move. I do think we will have a day where we can kind of kick back in some some U.S. data in that one. Retail sales may be it tomorrow. Retail sales may may surprise us. The 8:30 number tomorrow is not looking good, right? The forecast is minus 4.9, and then retail sales is minus 8. I mean, here's the thing. I'm surprised that those numbers are that low. I mean, I guess because I don't know. I guess because it's just other general goods. I mean, you can't find anything at the supermarket. My wife said today they brought a pallet out and just sat in the middle of the store, and there's a person standing there telling people they could take one, and by the time she left, it was completely gone. So, um, people are still doing crazy stuff, hoarding and getting as much supplies as they need. Um, I don't know. I just feel like people are buying a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I feel like retail sales is a weird number. All right. But we'll see. That could be the catalyst. We get the number here. That may be all that it needs to kind of move back to the downside. It's coinciding with that on a lot of different charts, and that would give us some strength over here. Some strength. Um, there we go. All right. That's kind of what we're looking for. Any type of shorts. Yeah, you guys can see in here. I touched it. Right. All right. So pound CAD. Pound CAD is going to be an interesting one for tomorrow. Okay, now again, a lot of consolidation through. And you guys can see here on the 4-hour. We talked about this one hitting multiple times. I think, we did it over here. 1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches, 4 touches, right? And then boom. Didn't even slow down. And just continued to punch right through. So, now we've gone off this top level here. We can do X's, X, X, X. That got punched through. Leave that there for right now, but it's not really All right, so you guys can see that we did come up, we did touch the zone. It didn't quite get all the way back down again. It got about 95% of the way. Did put an actual painted level back in though. Okay, so back you can see that we do have a new zone kind of formed. Now the old zone is still obviously a little bit valid. It's going to kind of handle a little more of it, but this is one of those aggressive zones that forms right at the very, very front. It did touch the zone, but it did form right in front of it. In the indicator, the algorithm behind it said, hey, basically, listen, based off the entry, the time it spent here, and the exit of this one, and comparing those three, there's something big here. So it is a zone that you have to kind of take into consideration. The zone is not big. It's only about 17 pips. The 1 to 3 and everything does make a lot of sense in this one. You can see right here, the 1 to 3 is right where it should be at the very, very bottom of this kind of pullback. And even the 1 to 5 is in a good position. So not too bad on the pound CAD. I still like this zone a little bit better, as well as the wick over wick right above that zone. But the indicator is marked off this one. And again, part of what it does is it's measuring the entrance in and the exit out, and it's happy with those. So it's signifying kind of an explosive move there. But again, pound CAD more short in that one. Pound Aussie, 281 ATR right now on the daily. You can see the candles are getting very, very small. It's 281 even after this is pulled back down again, so a bit big for me. You can see it is approaching a demand zone down here at the bottom, but that demand zone is about 178 pips. I'm not taking 178 pip stop loss. It's just not what I do. So again, I'm going to skip this one for the night. Go to Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand, the ATR on the daily is 252 pips, kind of similar situation. This one is really not in any type of a great zone. It's kind of more just kind of consolidating, but we do have a position right here. I marked this one off last night. You guys can see there's a little sawtooth right there. We are about 36 pips until we hit that zone, and there's a potential trade setup there. But again, the spread's a little bit bigger. You know, it's not huge, but there is a trade setup sitting right in there. But be cautious. I mean, that zone is 70 pip zone. Not really interested in 70 pip zone. Not my thing. If you take a smaller position size, that kind of makes sense. And pound Swiss, 180 pip ATR. Again, high, but it's almost back again. Kind of a similar situation. Oh, actually, this is when we started off with it. It's running right into the top. So let's go to New Zealand. Yen. All right, so New Zealand yen on the daily. Again, we did make that turn. We didn't actually fill the gap on this one. It got super close. Okay, super close. It's pushed down, and over the last 4 hours, it's dropped a little bit, but not enormous. It did come back, and again, we were in a downtrend set up on the 1 hour. You guys look up here, 1 hour and 1 and 4 hour, and you guys can see there was a zone. And we have target. Okay, so there was your trade setup today on this one. Again, I would still hold this top zone. Most speediest ever. Not a bad mover, right? Not a bad mover. About 28 pips to the downside. The risk was rather small in this one. You guys can see the risk was only about 10, so nice one. And that one kicked in. At about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That one kicked in. All right. Looking at New Zealand dollar. Okay, New Zealand dollar. A lot of consolidation. A lot of consolidation. For me, this one is kind of like, it's close. I'm still waiting for it to get up top. Too much sideways movement on the 4 hour, just not enough bulk in this one. Okay. Going down to the US dollar. All right. You know what? We'll start with this one. So you guys can see this one had a setup during the day today, or actually last night. Right here. All right. Are now, and then going back, you guys can see there's up from early morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning. It grabbed this wick over wick and went right into the zone where it was supposed to go to. Obviously, I was not up, you guys. I'm not trading at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just not my thing. Not with kids home and homeschooling, and God, I'd be a zombie right now. It'd be horrible, and not when I'm in like releasing class mode either. Like typically after releasing class mode, it's kind of like, oh, I need to take a break, and that's kind of the stage I'm at now. Not as young as I used to be. I don't know how the heck. Well, I guess it did take me like 2 months to do the 30-minute trader originally, But that was like 3 classes back to back to back. So by the time the third one came out, I was like, oh my God, I never want to see Excel ever again. But I'm actually having fun putting this one together. But it is a lot, with everything else going on. But again, there was just one little trade. Besides that, we're just flatline. You guys can see it turns yellow in here. It's showing us that we're in a downtrend setup, but we're sitting in a zone. So not really a whole lot you can do right now. Looking at this larger time frame, it does to me look like it wants to continue to come to the downside. Again, looking to the left, you can see there's a little bit of buying over in this area, but for the most part, it looks like we're good to the downside, and we got about 67 pips, right? Taking over this area here, right? The overnight. Yeah, I mean, even here, once we clear that zone, yeah, we've got a little bit of a zone right there. Okay, a little bit of a gap. But something along the lines of coming down to this zone here. That 4-hour zone starts at 95.30. All right. All right. So that's Swiss. I think this top zone. I think that was the only thing. Probably just that. I had a note somewhere for dollar CAD, and it's coming back to me, and I'm trying to figure out what was it. I had something for dollar CAD. Maybe walked off of my post-it notes. Coming back to me that I wrote something down. I'll have to come back to this one and think and see if I remember what that one was. But I had a note for dollar CAD. All right, so let's go over into the indices and oil. Focus on. All right, so remember the prices for this one are a little bit off. Let me see. About the same. LAFX right now is telling me that it's at 2042, and this is telling me that it was 2036. So pretty close, not too bad. But overall, what do we got here? Okay, we are crashing down. We've actually reached below the lows at this point, at least on the ECN here. And it's not really pulling back into zones, right? It's not pulling back into decent levels. It's just grinding lower, 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 and lower. Now, one of the things it could be doing, it could be driving down to prepare for the news tomorrow. Remember, what's the best time to buy something? When it's high priced or when it's on sale? You typically want to buy it when it's on sale, right? Well, with it coming back down, them driving this into the these regions in the overnight gives us a little bit better of an opportunity. So let's see. Down here on this one, it's like 1730 is like an issue. I don't think we can see that on any of these other. Yeah, so that's what it's showing me. That's where the weekly zone is. All right. Let's see. That's where we're sitting on. So that's a weekly level. So big question is how much farther can we push below that? I don't know if it's going to go that much more based off of what we've seen in the past. So question is, are they driving the price down now in preparation for a number tomorrow that's going to surprise people and pop this one to the top side? I don't know what I'm thinking, but I want to see what it does in the overnight and then go ahead and check it out on the lower time frames tomorrow morning, for the US Open, see kind of what it does. What is the market kind of showing us in the morning? I think that's going to be the best way to play this. But again, bouncing off a weekly level, got to watch that. Got to watch that because there are typically a lot of buyers sitting in that zone. Watch this one tomorrow morning. Gold. So gold, God, is that gold going down? What is that you say? Is that red candles? What? 12 hours of down? I said something about that. So on gold, guys, I don't like I said, there was this one little small trade set up here. Again, I think that was yesterday. I don't know, the date doing two chart schools in one day is like a lot. No, it was this morning, 2:30 this morning. All the days are blending together right now. So there was your gold setup off this morning. Off, ended up going all the way up, almost got to your 1 to 5, pop back down again, and then continue to push higher. So for the most part, again, where we were last night, we go back, the 21 candle is right here. We're at the exact same place we were last night. So we went down, we went up, and then basically for the last 12 hours, that has pushed down. Like I said, there's not really anything justifying this. Again, with retail sales numbers tomorrow, again, this could be another another negative day, kind of cranking in here. Um, Even the lower time frames, there's been a few times there you could have got in and messed around with this level here. Again, the indicator's not marking it off, but you can mark off a zone here, right? It came up, kind of bounced again, which should came up again and then bounced again. So again, smaller term kind of scalps. Again, I'm on a 15-minute chart right now, but the trade for the morning would have been this. Okay. Um, Also of note, okay, important to stand out. This reversal happened at 10:30 in the morning. Okay. These reversals between 10 and 10:30 have been pretty crazy. Multiple trades today that we've talked about, all the reversals, all the trade setups happen between that kind of 9 and 11 time frame. That 9:30, actually, really kind of like the 9:30 to 11, basically. That hour and a half in the morning is literally when all the reversals happen today. In like 7 or 8 different trades, there were setups during that time this morning. This is just another one of those examples where it drove up, 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 hit, and then boom, just collapsed, and the rest of the day is off to the races. Got for gold. Now, also of note, look how high this is. There's nothing else even remotely close. Let's see how high this is. Look at little sister. Is not at the high, okay? And it's also hitting a zone. So this is a zone that we had marked off last night, yesterday. Again, we were just starting to breach it and approach it, and it's really kind of flatline. You guys can see, look at this. Really not a lot of movement, and it's consolidating. The highs are coming down, the lows are getting higher, so it's forming a level of consolidation inside of a demand zone. I would also say, yes, I am bearish gold, but I would say I'm even more bearish on silver at this point, looking for this to kind of continue to drop to the down. If you look at it here, you can see there is a minor level. Let's pull. That's kind of what we're looking for. So this one, what I was doing is like, let me see if we have the ability to get into some dial down. And you guys can see, here's the zone. And there's another one sitting right above it. So you got kind of two little backdrops on those lines. Not bad. Basically getting this one short around this 1572 and then having this one go down to 1589. I'm sorry, 1518. Right, 1518. It's about an 80-cent move to the downside. Okay, that would be set up using the 4-hour kind of basing level. And remember, there's actually another level sitting right above this one. But again, it's having some issues right now. Again, it says uptrend setup, but uptrend setup into an area of supply. No, that's a sell. Okay, that is not a buy. Looking at the NASDAQ. So, big day. Big day. Now we're starting to pull back again, although I don't know if you guys can see it right here. What do we have right here? What is right here? This little hidden thing right there. Over wick. So nice run into that zone. Okay, and again, you guys can see that the wick over wick's a little bit harder to see here. You can see it over on this chart very cleanly, but this one is a little bit more difficult. And again, it's sitting right here, but there's a zone just slightly above it, which I think is a better zone than this wick over wick. This better zone is kind of sitting up in this range. So 88.61, and again, check your charts. They may be just slightly different. But to me, the way that it's looking right now, it looks like the NQ could potentially be a red pair tomorrow. or a red asset tomorrow. It is hitting levels again, especially in these larger time frames, where it's saying, "Hey, listen, we're probably getting a pullback." Look at this. I mean, it's a pretty solid straight up candle as well. We get a bad retail sales number tomorrow morning, this could definitely definitely turn back to the downside. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want to watch it tomorrow morning. Remember that news release tomorrow is 8:30 a.m. So it's going to be before the market. Okay. So check that one out. Again, looking to get short NQ based off of this 4-hour zone. I want to see where we are before news. So 8 a.m. is when you look at this guy. Dow kind of in a similar situation. Dow actually has it on the 4-hour. Okay. And it did kind of the same thing. It kind of rallied up, but what is it doing? It got itself closer to where we should actually be shorting it. So not much, right? I can't say that it did tons, right? On the hourly, right here. There's that zone up top. So here's where we are now. You guys can see that really kind of back in this area. This is that here. I'll show you. Where I talked about those things hitting it at different times. Right there's at 10 o'clock. Uptrend setup, 30-minute, 4-hour, came back zone, touched this zone, and boom, off to the races. So another example of, whoops. In the upper right hand corner, if you guys can see it over here, it goes to uptrend setup right here on the 4-hour. Came back, hit that zone on the 30-minute, and boom, off to the races. 1 to 3, 1 to 5, out, done. But look at the time at the bottom. Look down here at the bottom, right? I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it says 11 o'clock. So that 10:30, 11, right there, pulling back. Again, perfect setup on the Dow today if you guys are able to grab that one. S&P, you guys can see kind of the same thing. It's also had a pretty decent day, but I wouldn't say it's as good as the other two. On the 4-hour, this one kind of has some stuff over here, but not really. It's in a zone, but it's not as good a zone as the other ones. Drop it to the 1-hour. This one also needs to go a bit higher. You can see where price is right now. There's a small zone sitting right there. So again, needs to go just a little tiny bit higher, but kind of the same idea. Getting into a zone and a little bit big, but check the parameters on yours. 2860 is where we're looking for shorts on that one. Okay. But same idea. All three are kind of hitting areas of supply, looking like they could be flipping. What is gold doing? Gold's kind of doing the same thing. Gold is also looking like it wants to flip, and silver looks like it wants to. Meanwhile, oil is pushing down into an area of demand on the weekly, which looks like that could be rallying as well. Again, if that number comes in bad. So again, tomorrow morning is pretty chock full of news. Like I said, I think this is the best news morning I've had for a while. And again, core retail sales. The change in total value of sales at a retail level, excluding automobiles. Well, nobody's buying. Well, I guess I can't say nobody. My sister just got a car. Um, they live in Austin, in Texas, and they bought a car. He basically called the dealership and did like a virtual tour of the car, and they delivered it to his house so he could sign the paperwork. He's like, yeah, this is the first time I've ever bought a car that I've never test drove. I was like, it's my sister's. It was for my sister's birthday, but yeah. So anyway, so that'll be interesting. And again, this one is the core is or the retail sales number is everything. So this one is obviously much, much worse. Okay. So 8:30 big news, 10 o'clock again, some CAD news. Again, the unemployment is going to be not unemployment. The oil inventory report is going to be at 10:30, the same time that the BOC press conference is. So it's kind of like bam, 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 bam. By 11 o'clock, we are done. So look for reversals between 9 and basically 11. And then tomorrow night, again, we have chart school, but 9:30 p.m. employment change, unemployment rate. It's supposed to go just up to 5.4. So we'll see. Losing jobs, and we'll see what the unemployment rate does. That's their non-farm payroll. So we'll check that out. And then tomorrow night, what we'll do is we'll go over the numbers and look at the indices a little bit more. Why? Because we have the unemployment number that comes in on Thursday. Oh, they've adjusted it. There has been an adjustment. Earlier today, it was still set at 5 mil. Now it's 5.3 mil, so they are adjusting higher already. So we'll have to check that out tomorrow night to see if they adjust that anymore. All right. So with that being said, guys, make sure you get your tickets in. So let's drag this across. Remember, anybody can join, right? Exclamation point ticket will get you a ticket for Pip Chips in this one. I will go ahead and do the drawing. I'll make this even bigger so you guys can. No question. Okay, so when that says 119.30, I will go ahead and shut it down. Now, last night, I believe it was. Sean, did you win last night? I feel like it was you. I feel like it was Sean. Positive it was Sean. You know why? You know why I think it was Sean? Because James posted that picture of the guy, like, riding the gas pump. So I'm pretty sure it was Sean. See, it was James's meme, maybe remember. "15 seconds more. I know you guys have a delay, so remember, I'm going to do the same thing. Block it off. I'm going to wait a little bit, so that way you guys are, you guys can build up the interest a little bit. Let's see. All right, there we go. No more entries that can get in. I'm going to wait because I know there's a delay, and you guys don't want to hear who the winner is before seeing that the drawing is closed. So I need, like, Jeopardy music that, like, da na 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 na. All right, here we go. Ready? Winner of the drawing is... Man! She is a monster! Wow! That's 2 in the last, 7 days? Because she won one last week, too. Ernest is throwing stuff. He is throwing stuff right now. He is throwing stuff. Man, I need to find it now. I'm gonna beat James to this one. I'm gonna beat James to it right now, guys. I'm gonna beat James to it. I'm gonna get on the floor. I'm getting on Discord right now. I'm finding the GIF. Gotta find a good one. Here we go. There we go. Check out Discord, guys, right now. There is Ernest with the results of the Pip Chips for the evening. Check it out. Marina, you are the master. I think that's like, what, 6 times, 5 times, something like that. Yeah, check out Discord if you guys want to laugh. That would be Ernest. That is his response right now. There are broken keyboards because she is just sticking it to the man this year. She is winning it every week. Yeah, it's like 6 or 7. Yeah. So look, hey guys, look at this. There's so many, she forgets how many times she's won. I don't think Will's here tonight, but ask Will how many times he's won this month or this year. He'll tell you. Q has won 1 time in like 6 months. Ernest wins a lot. But Will's not on. Wait, is Will not here tonight at all? Wait, was Will on that list? Uh-oh. Oh, no, Will's here. Okay. Josh here? Did Josh get a ticket in? Did Josh just... Poor Josh. Yeah, here. Yeah, see, I told you guys, Will's only won 1 time. I win... Yeah, 1 every 3 to 6 months. Yeah. So we're 4 months in, and she's won 6 or 7 times. She's like, yeah, it's 6 or 7. I can't count. It's like once a week I win. So, all right, guys. With that being said, I am bolting tonight. I'm gonna get out a little bit early. Yeah, she's doing okay. She's figured it out. She's got it down. All right, so I'll catch you guys in the morning. If not, I'll see you guys back on for chart school tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us. Man, I forgot what it was like to do the 2 days. I'm definitely tired, so I am going to bed. No train tonight. You guys take care.